Hi there, Dolly and Minnie friends. I am so happy that you're here today. This week, I've been working on the wall between the nursery and the dormitory, which is the one you're looking straight at. As you know, I built the wall with the pocket door, and now I had mentioned that I wanted to possibly put in some built-in style shelves on the nursery side of the wall. So I'm attempting that. You know, it's really boring to just stain and color straight pieces of wood and then to use them trims. Anyway, before we get on to that, I really want to thank everyone so much for watching my channel and subscribing, leaving comments, leaving likes, thumbs up. I received a payment from YouTube. I did, and I'm going to tell you how much it was. It was $110 for December, January, and February. So that's like $36 a month. And I was able to purchase some equipment. So I just want to thank all of you, because if you weren't watching my channel, I wouldn't have my $100 to buy those things. So I really, really appreciate it. And it's exciting. Well, tell me if you do this. I find that when I'm working and I make bad decisions, I just cover them up with other kinds of decisions. Maybe better, maybe worse. Do you ever do that? The good thing is the wall is removable, so I can just change it if I want to. All right. Are you ready to see the decisions I made this week? I have some pieces sanded and cut, and now I'm just kind of playing with how I might want it to look. Yeah, I'm just kind of playing around with that, trying to decide what I want to do. Try not to think too much about why I've chosen these colors and stained the pieces this way, because I don't really have answers to those questions. So just maybe don't ask those questions. I'm getting tired of waiting for my brain to make a decision, so I'm just going to forge ahead. I did decide that I want to have a back on the shelves. I want to make the shelves completely separately before attaching them to the wall. That way I can remove them if I decide I don't want them anymore, or I could even use them somewhere else. I'm just using this light gray paint for a background, and then I plan to use a brown wash over the top. I'm just using a watered down brown umber. I only used one coat of the gray. I really like this gray because it has just a very subtle blue tint to it, don't you think? I did a couple coats of the brown wash, and now I'm going to measure and attach the trims. This trim is the same trim that I used around the pocket door and the French doors in the parlor, and it's what I have on hand. And then I will cut this one to size, and then these will be the shelves. Okay, let's start with this. Let's start with these. Just a little. Get a little bit of that gray. Do both sides. I did have great glue karma during this project because I just used tacky glue right out of the bottle. It was a beautiful
tacky
thing. Glue. So I got these little blocks at the Dollar Tree. So if you don't have any Legos and you need them for staying square or just adding a light little counterbalance, Dollar Tree. I got a whole pack. You can stack them up if you need them bigger. I just pulled out the big ones, but I don't think I even really need them. But I just wanted to show you. I know it's going fast, but can you see I'm really measuring? I'm using rulers and everything. Just not quite using my critical thinking. You'll see what I mean. Here's the first one, and I actually completely neglected to plan for a little support around the side of the shelves. You'll see what I mean when I do the second one. So I ended up having to scramble to do that, and it was a good thing I already had some popsicle sticks that were stained. I used a little piece of the nursery wallpaper to fill in the top portion because it was a little bit uneven with the shelving, so I just decided to leave it open, and I like the way that looks. I'm using some toothpicks to create some decorative legs for the bottom, and the reason I say decorative is because since it's a pretend built-in shelf, it wouldn't really need the legs. I'm just using my stain pen to color them in. I love stain pens because I'm lazy and I don't like getting out a can of stain. Well, here's another hasty decision I made. I decided to just glue the toothpicks right in. I tried to kind of make some little indentations with my little pin drill, but it didn't really work out because I didn't want to ruin the bottom of the shelf. So I just thought, oh, I'll go ahead and glue them on there, and it was going fine until I was trying to set it to dry. And yeah, and they don't need to be supportive, like I said, but they just didn't want to stay. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do about that. And I'm gluing this shelf together. This is the second one. It went a lot faster than the first one. And I'm just using my little blocks here for spacers. They're really good for that. What I had started to tell you about the first built-in that I did was that once I laid all the shelves in, I hadn't planned on having a support on the side, and the little trim that I used is not tall enough to do that. So I decided to pull off my little toothpick legs on the first shelf, and I need to come up with another plan. I think what I'm going to do is drill some holes into a little piece of wood and then add the legs into that and then glue the wood onto the side. That way I'll only have 2 legs to each little piece of wood. I soon realized, or maybe not so soon, that my plan for cutting all these tiny little pieces of wood and then drilling holes in them to add my toothpicks was a fail. But wait, that won't be the only fail. So I measured out the segments on this piece of wood here, and I'm using my pin drill to drill the little holes. And I am staggering them a little bit because I thought that would give a nicer look. And I glued them all in before I realized my critical error. How was I planning to cut them apart? Okay, back to the drawing board. Before I cut them apart, I decided I would file down the ends of them. Now, I've never made a mini pencil, but this is going to hopefully work a lot better. So I did that and then cut the pieces, and they went right in, and I set them on this piece of tape to dry thoroughly. And I mean thoroughly. I'm really gonna let them dry. So you can see how the shelves are just kind of floating there, and that's what I had done the first time before I realized I needed to add some supports to the sides. So luckily I had some pre-stained popsicle sticks, but if I hadn't made enough bad decisions already in this build, I continue to make them. Can you see what my mistake is? I spent all the time cutting and measuring and trimming, and I realized that even though these were the last two popsicle sticks I had, that one side is just painted a tan color and not stained at all. And I was just about ready to cry because I had spent so much time fixing all my mistakes. And I just keep on going, and I just decided to use my stain pen. It's not going to be seen, and I'll put this shelf on the far wall so you really won't be noticing it much at all. And it's just going to have to do. I'm going to have to come to terms with it in my mind. And I think these two popsicle sticks were also a little bowed because I had a little bit of trouble getting them to stay on there. But I eventually got them on, and it's starting to come together. It's starting to come together. There they are, and they are starting to look like shelving units, don't you think? And I'm going to go ahead and glue these pieces on. So my brilliant idea of staggering the pieces so that the front legs came in a little bit more did not really work out and just made the whole thing more fiddly, but I got them on there and I'm just going to let them dry. And here's what they're going to look like, and it's not working out. The top piece of trim where it meets the bottom of the transom window, I think I'm going to have to cut that off because it's just, I don't like the way that it looks there. So I just grabbed it and got my miter shears, and I'm just doing it that way. And this is what happens, my Dolly and Minnie friends, when you don't think things through. Like me, I didn't think this project through, and I was just winging it, like really winging it with no parachute. Well, there's always a parachute. It's called glue. Anyway, it's getting there. It's getting there. Now, I'm liking that so much better. But I think what I want to do is add a little bit of gold. So I just did a little dry brush of, it's just acrylic gold paint. I didn't use anything fancy like Rub and Buff. And I'm starting to like it. I'm starting to like it, and it will add some storage in the nursery so that there'll be a little more room because it's a little bit crowded in there. And there it is. What do you think? It's not the best work I've done, but it kind of is what I had in mind. So I'm going to install the wall in there, and I wanted to show you just how I do that. And the parlor wall is the same way. It can just pop in and out. Now I don't want to keep popping it in and out because I don't want to disturb that pocket door any more than is necessary. So just took a little bit of fiddling and I finally got it in, and there they are. So I'm going to put a few things back in the nursery, and I feel like for at least these upstairs rooms, the nursery, the dormitory, and the parlor, I can focus on the little details that really make a room stand out. So I put Miranda back in there, and I put a few toys on the shelves. I didn't get out all the books I have, And poor Charlotte does not want to be in there. She doesn't want to be in the nursery, so she'll probably have to go into the dormitory. My nursery seems so crowded, but I'm probably going to have to reconfigure some of that, but I put some things back in there. I do want to have a fireplace in there. That one's more like a 3/4 scale rather than a 1-inch scale, but I put some babies in there and Miranda is reading to them. They're all happy to be out of their plastic bag. And I put a few toys on the shelves, but I do need to get more books and get them out on the shelves. Don't go yet because I have a surprise. I almost forgot to tell you about the dormitory. Do you notice anything different in the dorm? What do you notice? Look, I put the light up. What I did was I just created a little beam. It's not the greatest, but it kind of goes over the side of the other wall there and just sets there. I could probably make it a little more secure, and it's actually gonna be hard to see it, but it's actually attached with a screw because the lamp was a doorbell, or I'm guessing it was part of a doorbell. It had a little threaded area in the back that allowed me to screw it in. So you don't really see that top part. So I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, so there's the light in the dormitory. I'm really happy with it, and it's gonna work for now. And you can see that Gertrude finally got out of the bath, and Jenny is getting ready to go downstairs to work in the infirmary, so poor little Winnie can have a break. Well, thank you so much for watching this really long video, and please come back and visit me next time in the doll cupboard. All this piecing together is a real exercise in patience, and I don't like it. I don't like an exercise in patience. I don't.